Hello and welcome to Time Trek. It's election season over in America, in case you don't know. I don't know how you wouldn't know. It's been everywhere, all over the news. You'd have to be living under a rock to not know. But yes, it's the 2024 presidential election between the Republican Donald J. Trump and Kamala D. Harris. And either one of them two is going to be the next president of the United States of America and the most powerful person in the world, leading the most powerful, head of the most powerful military in the world. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal, a pretty big election, and it's on a knife edge, according to all the polls, all the latest polls. All the election nerds like me have been looking at the polls, and this is as close as I've ever seen an election. It's going to come down to just a couple of swing states. Many people talking about Pennsylvania, but also Michigan, Wisconsin. And I think they're going to be the ones that are going to be deciding who's going to be the next president. Well, first, I think let's have a look at what the polls were saying in 2016. The 2016 presidential election, in which Donald Trump famously caused an upset. Many people believe that Hillary Clinton was guaranteed to win the 2016 election, but she lost. Most of the polling, as we can see, all of the polling here has Hillary Clinton leading just before the actual 2016 election, 270 to win, which is a famous election polling website we're going to be using. They had Hillary Clinton leading by 3.6 points at 538, another website we're going to be looking at. They had it even more out. They had her winning by 3.9%. She actually won the popular vote by about 2%, 2.1%. So they were out by a couple of percentage points, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's the percentage points that swung the election round and got Donald Trump into the White House. We can see the 10 electoral points of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That's 20 from Pennsylvania, 16 and 26. So that's 46 electoral college points, and that's the 46 electoral college points that swung the presidency around for the Republicans and got them back into the White House. Now, the Republicans in general, since 1988, they have failed to secure the popular vote in every election apart from one. The only election they've secured the popular vote in since 1988 was the election of 2004. That was obviously George Bush was coming on for his second term against John Kerry, and he did win the popular vote in that one by about 2 million votes. But that's the only election in my lifetime, and also since 1988, in which the Republicans have won the popular vote. But it doesn't matter about the popular vote. The popular vote is completely irrelevant because the popular vote doesn't mean anything. What gets you into the White House is the Electoral College vote, and that is what cost Donald Trump the White House in 2020. If we have a look at what the polls were saying in 2020, they had Biden leading by quite a lot. They had Biden leading here according to 270 to win. They had Biden winning by 8 points, when in reality, in the 2020 election, he actually won by just about 4.5 points. He got about 5-6 million more votes than Donald Trump. He won about 70 more electoral college votes than Donald Trump. But again, as we can see, it's them states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. They switched back to the Democrats in the 2020 election. That obviously allowed Biden to get back into the White House. So yeah, we can see that them three states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, they are crucial and have decided who has gotten into the White House in the last few elections. What we can say is, if we look at the historical elections, we can see that, it is only in 1984, Ronald Reagan managed to secure 525 electoral college votes. It was an absolute landslide election. That wasn't really that long ago. It was only 40 years ago in 1984. But since then, the country has become more and more polarized. You can clearly see that in a number of swing states. There's a lot less swing states now because certain states have just become so polarized, so red or so blue, and the number of actual swing states has become less and less. So in the close 2000 election, we can see there's a lot of not solid blue and not solid red because, again, it's not as partisan as it is now. The 2000 election, probably the closest election ever in US history. It's impossible to say actually who won that election. Obviously, Bush became president, but it's pretty much impossible to say who actually won that election. If we look at 2016 again, we can see it was a very narrow win in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And that was, again, what helped secure Donald Trump the path to the White House. In terms of the strong Democrat states, we've got New York, California, the coastal elites, as the Republicans would call them. And Illinois is just in a sea of red by itself. Illinois, of course, being Chicago and the Democrats' HQ headquarters. Yeah, and 2020, clearly Biden managed to secure the win by, again, winning them Rust Belt states. Biden himself, he was born in Pennsylvania, but he was the Delaware senator, but he obviously was from around the New England, Pennsylvania area. So obviously that was a vote winner and helped him secure a path to the White House. In terms of this time, we've got Kamala Harris, who's a Californian, so that's of no real help to the Democrats because California was always going to be Democrat. But she did pick her running mate in Tim Walz, and Tim Walz is the Minnesota governor. He's the governor of Minnesota. So obviously he is from that Rust Belt, former heavy industry, working class area of America. So obviously that Tim Walz is an attempt to try shore up that vote there in that Rust Belt, that crucial Rust Belt. So I think we should start coloring in the map and we can see where we'll go from there, and maybe we'll get to my prediction and how I think this will actually go. So there's a few states which are in the balance. These are the swing states here that have been not called in. So we can see that of the current swing states are Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If we just look on the 538 website, the current polling today has Wisconsin completely even, no difference. So we're not going to colour that one in yet. It's giving Michigan to the Democrats, but by 0.1. It's giving Nevada to the Democrats, but by 0.2. It's giving Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, and Georgia all to Donald Trump. It's actually giving Georgia, Arizona by nearly 2 points. And I tend to agree that I think, especially Arizona, I don't think Harris really has a chance in Arizona. So I'm going to colour in Arizona and I'm going to colour in Georgia red because that's where I think they'll go. But if we look at the other polling, they're also saying North Carolina is currently, it's given a 1.1, so it's giving that to Trump. I'm not as sure on North Carolina, so I'm going to leave that in the thing for now. I am more sure on Michigan, so yeah, I think we should colour that in. We'll colour Michigan in blue because I'm thinking Michigan is going to go blue. I think North Carolina is going to, it's giving it to the Republicans, but some of the polling I'm hearing, it could go either way. In honesty, if you're just going to ask me what I think, I'm going to say that North Carolina is going to go red, and it's going to put Donald Trump just 8 away from the White House. So yeah, I think North Carolina will go red. I think Georgia will go red. I think Arizona will go red. The others, I don't think the Republicans have much of a chance in. So if you're just having a look at the polling, it's giving Nevada and Michigan to the Democrats, but only by a knife edge. But I would agree with that polling there. I think Nevada's going to go blue. If we have a look historically, Nevada's typically been a blue state. It was blue in 2020. It was blue in 2016, even though Donald Trump won. It was blue in 2012, 2008. Last time it was red was 2004. And then since then, with a few exceptions, it's been pretty blue. So obviously Nevada, home of Las Vegas, which is quite a liberal, more left-wing area. But the surrounding areas, I believe, are a lot more Republican, the surrounding counties. So it's been becoming more and more of a 50-50 and more of a swing state. But I personally believe it will stay blue. As I say, voted blue in 2016, 2020. I think it'll stay blue again. That puts it down to just 2 states. And it's literally just whoever wins these 2 states wins the White House. If we colour both of them in red, we can see that's enough for Donald Trump by a mile. In fact, Donald Trump would just have enough with Pennsylvania as it stands. But I don't think that Pennsylvania is going to go for the Republicans. I don't think Pennsylvania is going to vote red. And I don't think Wisconsin's going to vote red. I think they're both going to go to the Democrats. And if I was a betting man, I would bet that the final tally would end up being Kamala Harris on 276 electoral college votes and Donald J. Trump on just 262, leaving him short of the White House, and the MAGA movement would be facing collapse. Or the MAGA movement would certainly be facing some serious challenges, but if it was to be successful, of course, it would be incredibly emboldened. But I think obviously this is incredibly close election. It could be the closest since 2000. It's certainly down to just a few states. I mean, if we just flip Pennsylvania, it decides the White House according to how close these polls are. It could come down to whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the presidency. But as I say, I think if we look at the historical polling, we can see they've been traditionally blue states. The states we're on about, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The only time they flipped was in 2016. But besides 2016, they've been solidly blue Democrat states. So, yeah, I just think they're going to stay pretty solidly blue Democrat states. And I think, as I say, of the swing states, I think Nevada is going Democrat. I think Arizona is going to go Republican. I think Georgia is Republican. I think North Carolina will be Republican. But then I think Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin will all vote Democrat, and that will decide the White House. If we have a look at the current polling on 538, it says that Trump is the more likely to win, and it says that Harris wins 47 out of 100 times, but they're literally giving it as 50-50. But yeah, I've put my cards down. I said Kamala Harris is going to win, and she's going to become the first female president of the United States of America. I think Donald Trump will lose, and I think if Donald Trump does lose, I think that's the end of Donald Trump. He'll be in his 80s by the time of the next election. I think even he will be too old. So I think the Republican and the MAGA movement will move on to someone else, some other new champion. And yeah, we'll have to see what's going to be happening in the 2028 election. What excitement awaits then. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with a British person's opinion about your politics. I hope I didn't offend anyone. It's just my thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be staying up watching it on election night. It's going to be fun. It's going to be close, exciting. But yeah, it's obviously down to them 3 key states in the Rust Belt. And again, I think they're all going to go Democrat this time. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We'll find out on election night. Please put down your opinions on what you think the election will be. Do you think Trump's going to win this one? Do you think Harris has got it in the bag? Do you think it's going to be a landslide, actually, and the polling and the pundits are all completely wrong? It's actually going to be a landslide. Let me know. Tell me. Put your guess down below, and we'll see how wrong you are. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.